What's up, guys? How you doing? Okay, so I've been noticing that a lot of people have questions about programming and how to set up programs. People get ideas on different websites online, and a lot of people are kind of confused on how to set up a program. So I'm not going to get into exercise selection on this video. I'm just going to get into how to kind of outline your routine so you have some kind of guideline on where to go. Okay, this is called the Hypertrophy and Strength Program Outline, because that's pretty much where my background is mostly in hypertrophy and strength, muscle gain, etc. But I'm sure you can kind of take something from this and implement it in your routine. Okay, so this is a set progression type program, and I'll explain that and what that means in a second. So I have up here is a mesocycle. I have week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. That's a whole mesocycle. You can even add on that more weeks could be considered a mesocycle, or this could be just considered a block in your training cycle. I have week 1 as a microcycle. That's what that means. These are all just little terms. You don't need to know them if you don't want, but just some information. Okay, so I have reps here. And then reps 8 to 10. This could be anywhere, like for hypertrophy, it could be anywhere from 6 to 12 generally, maybe even a little higher on some isolation movements. For strength, I'll get into that and how to implement that. It could be like 4 to 6 for strength as well. But, okay, so say you come into the gym, okay, it's week 1, you have 2 sets of everything, okay? Say you're doing a full body routine Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you're doing squats, deadlifts, bench press, pull-ups, overhead press, bent over rows, and that's it. Okay? Everything would be 2 sets and in the range of 8 to 10 reps. Okay? With a given weight. You stick with the same weight. So if it's 135 pounds for squats, maybe do a warm-up set or 2, and then your working sets would be 8 to 10, 135 pounds. Okay? For the squats. And you do the same thing for all the other exercises. So for week 2, you come in Monday, everything is 3 sets. Okay? So you do 8 to 10 reps, everything's 3 sets. Week 3, same thing, everything is 4 sets, 8 to 10 reps, etc. Okay? Then week 4, okay, you come in, usually I like to do a deload during this week. And my recommendation for deload is 50% volume, and it's the same intensity. So same intensity means you're doing the same weight. So if you're squatting 135 pounds for 4 sets of 8 to 10 reps on week 3 for squats, you're just doing 135 pounds for 8 to 10 reps for 2 sets on week 4 for deload. The weight stays the same, the reps stay the same, but the sets decrease by half, 50% volume. So that's for hypertrophy. That's kind of a basic setup. Okay. I want to get into really quickly, you can do the same thing for a strength type block. Some people may run this, like say a hypertrophy block, a couple times they might run this over, and then they can come in and this could be changed to 4 to 6 reps. Okay, so everything stays the same. You do 2 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets, the same type of thing. You do 2 sets of 4 to 6, 3 sets of 4 to 6, 4 sets of 4 to 6. Or these could even be moved up for a strength phase. It could be 3, 4, 5. There's a lot of ways to set up this kind of routine. This is just a basic outline. Okay. One thing I will say. Okay, people go, can I ever increase weights, or when I'm stuck with the weight, am I stuck with the weight that I'm using? Okay, like I'm saying, like if I do 135 pounds for squats on week 1, and I thought that was pretty easy, can I ever increase it? And the answer, I'll give you a couple answers here. Of course you can increase the weight, because progressive overload, lifting more weights, you have to do that to increase strength and increase muscle size over time. But in this kind of routine, you don't want to let the weight increases affect the sets and or reps. So say for week 1, 2 sets, you go, man, 135 pounds for those 2 sets was really easy Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm going to come in on next Monday and do 155 pounds. And you come in and you do, your first set is 9 reps, your second set is 8 reps, and then your third set is only 5 reps. It will definitely take, that would be I wouldn't really call it a mistake, but just kind of a learning experience to that just because something is easy in week 1, further down the road, because especially this last week before a deload, it needs to be pretty dang hard, called like an overreaching week. You want it to be pretty difficult and challenging. So just keep that in mind. Okay, you can increase the weights, but you don't want to let the weights increase affect the sets and or reps you are doing for the prescribed exercise. Lastly, when you're doing your last week, what I usually sometimes like to do, so you know if you can increase the weights after a deload, say then this would be like week 5 or week 1, whatever you want to consider it as when you do the whole cycle over again. I like to do like AMRAP sets on like the bigger compound movements, if it's the squats, the deadlifts, or whatever. And then if you're able to complete all 4 sets at 10 reps or whatever the max rep range is for that exercise, if it's 6 reps and you do an AMRAP set, you get 4 sets and you do 10 reps, 10 reps, 10 reps, and on the 4th set is an AMRAP set. Okay, as many reps as possible, as many reps as you can do. You hit 13 reps, then you definitely know that after the deload week, because you're going to stick with that same weight as you did for that last week, as you do for the deload week, but when you come back for week 5, you know you can increase the weight, because especially on that AMRAP set, you did more reps than you expected. So either you can do an AMRAP set, or if you don't do an AMRAP set, you don't need to do it on everything. But if you do all 4 sets at the top end of whatever rep range you're doing, it generally means you can increase the weight and redo it until you're able to do all reps at the top end of the rep range and all the sets at the last week for the deload. Hopefully that makes hopefully that made sense. That's because that was a lot of information. Lastly, I think that's pretty much it. Oh, last thing. What I will say is I'm a big fan of daily undulating periodization. So what that means is I like to actually have multiple rep schemes in the same week. So you could essentially have like this day, 8 to 10 on a Monday, this day on a Tuesday, take a rest day, this day on a Thursday, and this day on a Friday, for example. There's countless ways. There's not one way to daily undulate periodization. There's not one way for that. That's just one example. I have some people lifting up to 6 days a week on certain different frequencies and using different techniques, but that's just one way you can do it. So if you guys have any questions, I know there's kind of a lot of scattered information. Hopefully it was somewhat clear. And if you have any questions, sorry, I'm losing my voice down here. If you have any questions about anything, leave them below, and I can do a follow-up video. And hopefully this helped clear a couple things up for you guys, so you can kind of have somewhat of a progression in your training programs. All right, guys, I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for sticking around. Later.